Meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Paul Amaro.
Here.
Sarah Zane.
Here.
Steve Babbitt.
Here.
Jimmy Gonzalez.
Yep.
Okay, we have a quorum. First order of business is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting held on March 5th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. First on the, we have Attorney Jim Lamanna here to explain to us about Article 97 land and because the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission. Jim, you want to just talk about what the...
Yeah, so Lynn Water and Sewer has approached the city. They're going to be using part of the Gannon field for a pump station. So the city necessarily would lose part of our park space in order to accomplish this. Lynn Water and Sewer has a court order where they have to do water sewer separation in West Lynn, and they have certain key dates that they have to follow in order to comply with the court order. In order to lose parkland, the city has to find other parkland in the city to replace it. Otherwise, the state would not allow the city to contemplate it. Ultimately, under Article 97, you folks would have to unanimously agree to whatever replacement land is found, that it satisfies and replaces what we've lost. And the Conservation Commission also has to make a unanimous finding that the replacement land replaces what we lose at McManus Field. 2/3 of the City Council must approve what we're proposing to replace, and then the legislature and the governor gets involved through a home rule petition. As of right now, my understanding is that they've identified 2 parcels of property, some land by the GE field, which the city owns the majority of the GE field, but on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, the GE Athletic Association owns some land that could be used as a replacement. The second land that is not owned by the city is owned by West Lynn National Little League over by River Street. West Lynn National Little League lost its charter probably about 10 or 15 years ago. There's a clause in the deed that says the land reverts back to the city if they lose the charter, and there's a process to go to the land court in order for the city to, the ownership to be returned to the city. So my understanding after some meetings with the engineers from Water and Sewer and Chairman Babbitt's been part of this, other properties that the city of Lynn owns that could be transferred into park property is just clearly not suitable replacement land. It's not going to make up what we're going to lose at McManus Field, which I believe may be part of a soccer field, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the 2 pieces of property that they're actively working on. The Secretary of Environmental Affairs has looked at the proposal if we were to use some of the GE Athletic Association and believes that property is apples to apples. And all of this is continued upon the Secretary of Environmental Affairs signing off on it. And again, in addition to the unanimous vote of this board, unanimous vote of the Conservation Commission, 2/3 vote of the council. So she has given a tentative green light to the GE land. The River Street property has been identified probably in the last week and a half. My understanding is she's going to be either reviewing or coming to Lynn to look at what could be done at the River Street property, and whether they would ultimately sign off. If they say that they would never sign off under any circumstance, it would make no sense to even present it to you folks, because the endeavor would end up failing. Speaking with Water and Sewer and the engineers, they're hoping that by your next May meeting that they'll be able to come up with a proposal to you folks, hopefully well in advance, so you folks can digest that and make your own conclusion whether what is being proposed to replace what we're losing in McManus is actually going to serve the public. During this process, we did discover that we own primarily the GE Athletic Association, the GE Field. There's a purported lease, and my understanding it was originally signed by this Park Commission back in, I believe, 82 or 92. That lease is not in existence at this time. The GE Athletic Association has no legal right to use the middle larger portion of this field. It is purely under the jurisdiction of this commission. So regardless of what happens with a potential land swap, the law department can confidently state this is property that belongs to you folks, and as a park land it should be open to the public and not leased out to any private entity. It may require some land configurations, because my understanding one of the baseball, softball fields, the third base line actually is on GE land. I'm sure that that may also require some negotiations with the GE Athletic Association, because there's no question that they own some of the land to the left and right up there. They made a recent sale for some residential properties, so they lost some of the land that they have. How that's going to look moving forward really is in the jurisdiction of this commission. I know there's some parks in the city where a certain group is given a preference, so where they can come to the park commission and say, traditionally we play this sport on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and every effort is made by the park commission to accommodate that group. Whether ultimately that type of arrangement is something the park commission would like to enter into would be again squarely in this board's authority. So there's one good thing about that came out of this process is in reviewing what's been going on at GE Field, speaking with Chairman Babbitt, the city is in need of additional park space, regardless of what happens on the water pump station. You folks, I think, have found some fairly significant parklands for the public and youth sports and adult sports moving forward.
Thank you, Jim. There's a diagram here of the where the pump station wants to go. This is Commercial Street here. So this is about 15,000 square feet. And as part of this deal, they would, the Water and Sewer Commission, through their engineers, would also redesign the fields so they fit in there, so we wouldn't be losing any playing space. So, and the piece that he talked about up on River Street, it's a flooding area, but I think it would make a nice park possibly. I suggested that maybe we could put in a kayak launch or a canoe launch here. It's right on the Saugus River. There's not a lot of open space along the Saugus River. And I think it's about, I forget how many square feet. Let's see.
It should be on the sheet there.
See where it's here, River Street. It's about 82,000 square feet, so it's a pretty, but you could see that there were, at the high tides, the seasonal high tides, it washes up there pretty good. Right now, there are some residents parking down there, so, you know. And as Jim spoke, you know, GE Field is under our jurisdiction. We don't have a current valid lease with them. And that area there, I forget, there's about, let's see, do we have that one here, Lisa? That's about 59,000 square feet, I believe, so it's about 1.25 acres, somewhere around there. So there are opportunities. So, Jim, is it your feeling that they may have something to present to this commission next month?
My understanding is that is absolutely their intention, because they're on a tight timeline in order to comply with the court orders. So my conversation today, something that should be before you folks to consider at the next meeting, and I certainly hope that, I would anticipate that they would be here explaining why they believe that this is apples to apples and that the city is not losing, and the public is not losing any recreational or conservation space.
Are there any questions? And this is part of the CSO project, to relieve all the flooding in Ward 6 and those areas around. It's a pretty extensive project, so.
Attorney Lamont, you spoke of a tight timetable. When is hopes to break ground, if you will, on
My understanding this summer.
the summer?
Anybody else?
If they do that repair, do that take care of the flooding that we have almost every year on Commercial Street?
That is certainly the hope. Having said that, water sewer obviously is separate from the city of Lynn, but the meetings I have attended, they hope that this alleviates it significantly. I don't know if they've ever made a representation that they believe it will be 100% solve this issue, but they do believe it will go a long way to alleviate the problems in the Commercial Street, Alley Street area that routinely floods.
Jim, while you're here, just briefly, can you tell us about the RFI that just went out? Not what's been returned, but just what we're trying to do?
Absolutely.
This is on Gannon Golf Course.
We sent out a request for information, statements of interest to any golf operator, course operators, asking basically what they would like to see in a future RFP, what different options the Park Commission could have to include in the next RFP that I anticipate going out sometime, hopefully May. Hopefully I'll have something before you at the next meeting in May. We received 2 responses. One from Long Ball and a second from Casper Golf. The Casper Golf submission had presented 3 or 4 different options. They came in Friday. I got them Monday. I have not had an opportunity to review the Casper 4 options. I have sent it to the CFO to see if, certainly he should be making some recommendations to this board as far as the financial impact on different options that they're going. I know the long ball group out in New Jersey envisioned that the city coming back and taking over the golf course, but then subcontracting out the restaurant, bar function hall, and the golf course. They gave some facts about how they manage a golf course down in New Jersey, and as far as I can tell, it's just one course from what I read in their report. And they thought that that would be a way for the city to maximize profits. Just skimming through the Casper submission, one of the options would be similar to what we have here, is a flat fee, whatever that flat fee is, but at certain points triggers a revenue sharing percentage. I know that that's one of the options. I think they have something similar as another option, as the city getting back in as being the general contractor and subbing out the various functions in order for the golf course. So I certainly would encourage this commission and board between now and May to review, and certainly to reach out to Mike Bertino, Andy Hall, Lisa Nerick, Mike Donovan to a little bit less of extent because Mike's in charge of the buildings up there. But I am confident, because we did look in this last go-around, whether there was any benefit in separating the restaurant bar function with the golf course. Both of the respondents believe that the headaches that would happen did not make that a viable option. So that confirmed what our consultant, the Collins Center, ultimately concluded, that there would probably be friction relating to parking and the like when having two separate bidders. So we'll now have, between the two businesses, entities in the golf business, we have the Collins Center. So we've had three different, multiple different approaches to consider moving forward, and I'm sure that the CFO will look at this and give a report, at least on what may be in the city's best financial interest. That doesn't mean necessarily it's in the best the course's interest. If the feeling is that the course is being very well maintained, and having it, that the city may not be in the best position to be the general contractor. So those are things that you folks will have to consider. In an ideal world, I'm hoping that we can have an RFI out sometime in May with a June opening. I think the last two bids, one of the main hindrance in receiving multiple bids is the first bid in 2013 came out in October with a November bid opening. This last go-around, the bid was submitted in early November with a December bid opening. So any bidder would have to commit to being able to mobilize as of January 1st. That probably is not realistic, hiring staff and renting the necessary equipment. If a bid opening happened in June, July area, that would allow anyone to have 6 months to prepare, whether it's the incumbent or a new group, to line up the five-year leases. I would say the Casper does have some recommendations about years, and urge the commission to look into that. And they give different reasonings why shorter or longer terms may be in the city's best interest, and these are things that I think collectively the commission and with the help of some city officials on the financial side and DPW side that can help assist you guys, you folks.
So when do you think we should have our comments prepared to talk with Mike Bertino or the like?
If this board would, if they believed it would facilitate, I would have no problem drafting and calling Mike Bertino and saying, I think the sooner the better, that he could get, I know he's preparing the fiscal 2020 budget and he's in negotiations, but and he's got his hands full. But that if sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks he could set aside some time to generally comment about the financial benefits, pros and cons of the various proposals that have come out.
Okay. Are there any questions? Everybody understand what's been said and what Attorney Lamanna presented to us? Okay, Jim, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Okay, item number 2, Kim Ruma, Greg House. How are you? Good. Request use of Kiley Park for the annual summer kickoff from June 28th, 3 a.m. Yeah, 3 a.m., 9 a.m. I know you want to start early. 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes. So like we did last year, and I think it worked really well. We take a field trip with all of our kids there, and we play field games, use the splash pad and both the soccer field, softball field, the playground, and use the bathrooms. We had pizza delivered last year, so there's no food cooking, or we don't need the concession stand or anything like that. So I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of.
Lisa, any concerns or?
No concerns.
No? Any questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very
All
much.
set?
I'll email you.
All right, thank you.
Jose Alvarez, American Latino Committee, requests use of South Common Park, July 27th, from 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. for the annual festival. How are you?
I'm doing well. Jose Alvarez is not here today, but my name is Juan Gonzalez,
Okay.
so I'm on behalf of him.
Okay. This is a,
It's an annual event down at the Commons. Yeah.
so they know, they have to sit with the, the Chris Reddy or any of those folks, or
No, it's just everything is on site,
everything is on site?
down at the Commons.
Okay, is there any,
They'll just have to hire staff, and he knows that.
Yes, we did in the last
In
meeting.
previous years, go through ISD for his permitting,
okay. Any questions?
and I
Not?
just want to, Steve, Juan's been a big asset to the Parks program. He's been out there with his crew, cleaning up the playgrounds. He was down the North Commons this 2 weeks ago doing a cleanup, and this past weekend, they were up at High Rock Tower. So he's getting groups together, and they're trying to hit the city parks. So I
Great.
just wanted
That's
him to
great.
be recognized for that.
Great, appreciate your help.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, okay, any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks for coming in. Good luck. William Joseph, Senior Action Center, request use of Lynn Commons, May 17th. Not here? Is this something that we're familiar with, Lisa?
This is annual.
It says annual.
This is annual. This is the raising of the Haitian flag.
That's the Senior Action Center?
So he starts off at City Hall, they raise the flag.
No,
and then
I'm
they go down
familiar
to
with,
the
I know a group has done that, I just don't recall that
Yeah,
particular name.
That's the group,
So they do this in conjunction with the mayor's office somewhat?
yes.
Okay. There's an event at City Hall, and they couldn't do it down there. That's why they're moving it down the Commons.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is an event. but-
So you're familiar with this event then? Are they doing any parading like they were? Yeah? No, okay. Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Helder Sinine, or how do you say that?
Amy Kirchie, Elder Pennycombe.
Okay, how do you pronounce your name?
Amy Kirchie.
No, this, how do you
That one
pronounce?
is Elder Tassini.
Tassini, okay, that's what I... Okay, YMCA Metro North requests to use the Commons, August 9th, 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. for a music festival. What can you tell us about it?
In years past, we used our own facility, the back lot, but due to construction, our back lot is now a parking lot. So we have a music studio, and it's just a performance for the kids to be able to show off their talents to their parents, the other kids. Pretty simple, low-key.
How many people you get usually?
About 100, but they're
100.
typically the kids in the program and their parents.
And my only concern would be is how loud the sound, were you going to do it around the bandstand area, or what part of the,
We were thinking around the gazebo area.
around the gazebo area? Do you need electricity and stuff like that?
I
or-
would believe so.
Okay, so you're going to be there for 4.5 hours. Lisa, are the bathrooms open for that?
They're going
What
to
are
have
they-
to open the bathrooms, yeah, unless they want to get a porta potty.
Yeah, they're going to need a staff person then?
Yes.
So that you're going to have some expenses to go along, you're aware of that? Okay. Anybody have any further questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, good luck. Nicole McLean, NS Juneteenth, requests use of Lynn Common Park, June 22nd, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for their annual Family Fun Day Festival. How are you? Good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
It's a festival that celebrates the ending of slavery. It's called the Juneteenth Family Fun Day. Well, that's what we named it for this year. Usually it's just the Juneteenth Festival.
Yeah.
So we have music, we have food, and performances.
How many years have you done this for?
2017 was the first time. So it was only our third year. We're pretty new.
You know, you talk about food. What are you doing for food?
We're just giving food out. That's what we've done in the last couple of
Yep.
years. Last year we had barbecue. We couldn't do it on the Commons. We had to move it to Lynn Tech, but we just pass out food to as
So
many people
it
as-
comes it's all pre-cooked someplace else, and you're just handing it out, so there's no cooking or any of that kind of stuff? Nothing for sale? Lisa, are there any questions about the food part of it, or no?
No alcohol, right?
Yeah, no.
No.
We've never had,
Family friendly.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was no issues in the past years, so, no. It's not a big event. I mean, you have
No,
like
it's not
100.
huge. We
It's
had
like 60 to 100,
200.
yeah.
Well, the first year we had 200,
Yeah.
so this year, hopefully, because it's outside again, we'll have the same amount of
Right.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good luck. Julie, how do I say that? So Julie Espinal? No?
Not here.
You familiar with this one? Raw Arts request to use a Lynn Common on July 16th from 9 AM to 4:30 PM for
That's an
their
annual event, too.
annual
That's a
Van
summer.
Gogh Art Festival. Okay. Is there a motion for that one?
Make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tanisha Dixon, East Coast International Church, request to use High Rock Park, April 20th, 9 AM, 3 PM for an Easter egg hunt. Can I go? All right.
So nervous with the video camera here.
No, don't be nervous, just pretend it's not there. That's what we do.
So yeah, this would be our second year if we're approved to do it at High Rock Park. Previously, our church in years past would do it on the Commons, but I love High Rock Park because it's like an incredible park to go to, but with the individual places, it just makes it safer for the kids. So we can offer different age groups at the different playgrounds and spaces. So that's what we're hoping to do this year.
Yep, so you did it up there last year?
Yeah, it was great. It really is a perfect spot for anyone
Yep.
to do it anytime.
Anybody have any questions about it, or Lisa, are there any concerns?
No, Council Calucci supports the event.
Oh, council, okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, sure.
Maybe a little late. But,
It's never too
late. Last year, we were told we didn't have any access to electricity, but this year they said that we do. And so I don't know, is that the electricity that's there just is it limited? Or I just don't know the situation of.
What's the time frame for,
From 9 to 3.
you'd have to hire someone to work that event, right?
So if we just got like generators like last year.
Generator's fine, yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
great, that's all.
Okay, you all set?
Yeah.
Okay, good luck. And if I show up, treat me well, okay?
Great.
Okay, Kathy Harrell, Wyoming Lions Club, request use of Lynn Commons for the 20th Annual Memorial Tree Lighting Service on May 25th, 1 to 4. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Good?
Good. So that's really it. We've been doing it for 20 years on the Commons, right at the pine tree that's right at the beginning across from the library. Just a little history, that tree was planted for John Valeri, who was a member of the Lions Club. There's actually a little plaque at the bottom of the tree with his name on it. So we actually put up the memorial boards the week before. We have names put on them, people that, send in their names that they weren't recognized. On the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, we have a little ceremony there at 2 o'clock. Done by 3:30 really at the latest. We have anywhere from 30 to 75 people depending on the weather. That has a lot to do with who shows up and what we do. We read all the names on the board. We actually have a little ceremony that includes the ROTC kids from Lynn English come present the colors. We usually have a couple of members of the high school band that come and play taps for us. We do a salute to all the military, the Army, the Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. And then we read all the names, and as the names are read, we have a gong that we bang the gong. And then the last few years, we've come up with a theme every year to try to teach people a little bit about veterans and things that go on in veterans' lives that you might not know about. Last year, we had a wonderful ceremony about a white table, which has to do with the people that don't come home, the MIAs and the POWs. And if you go to any of the veterans posts, a lot of them have a table set with a white tablecloth and a rose, and the chair is turned in, and the place setting is a certain way, and that's to remember people that didn't come home. This year we're doing Coins on the Grave, which is people that leave quarters, nickels, dimes, and pennies on the top of a gravestone. They all have meaning if you've been in the military. So we have people coming in that are going to explain all that to us. So it's really been interesting to get into some of the veterans, things that everybody knows about, but you don't really know what they're all about. So we're trying to bring a little history and information to the area.
Sounds
Yeah, it's really
entertaining.
nice. It's a nice little ceremony. And like I said, it is our 20th year. The tree on the Commons does have light bulbs on it year-round. The lights go on for the 2 weeks that we're down there at night. And it's, you know, every name on the board is supposed to have a light bulb, but we don't have enough tree for all the light bulbs that we need, so we put enough on there to
Gotta
keep
keep
it
watering
going.
that tree.
That's right, that's right.
What do you do if it rains out?
We still have the ceremony,
Even if it pours out?
even if it pours, yeah.
Wow.
The ceremony is still held.
Are there any questions from the board?
No, that sounds awesome.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, Song Jin Z, did I say that right? Wow,
Oh.
I surprised myself
Got one.
sometimes. Request use of Lynn Woods for a student filming production on May 15th. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we're both graduate students at Boston University. We're getting our MFAs in film production, and we have our thesis films coming up. I'm the director of the project, Song Shin is my producer, and we've been location scouting for the past few weeks, and we came upon Lynn Woods, and we really liked sort of the entrance area of it on Pennybrook Avenue.
Pennybrook Road.
Road. Yes, sorry. Road.
That's all right. I'm not criticizing you, I just...
And that's the particular section that we're looking into, so we're not trying to go like deep into the woods,
Yep.
just to clarify that. But we're hoping to shoot on May 15th. It would be a night shoot if that's possible, so it would be sort of like starting after sunset, going through the night.
Have you spoken with the park ranger at all?
I contacted him and then he said that I need to speak to the commission to
Park
ask for
commission, yeah.
permission for
Yeah.
permit first.
Yeah, I would just check with him to see what logistics, what he wants you to do. Because sometimes he can help out in some ways, depending on what you need. How many people will you have up there?
We estimate about 15 to 20.
Yeah, and what's the theme you're filming, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, so it's a drama film. It's a short film, so 15 to 20 minutes. I had a writer. I collaborated. It's about a hit and run, following that driver and the victim and telling that parallel story and the relationship between the two, how it impacted their lives.
Well, sounds entertaining.
I hope it is.
Are there any questions, Lisa, what will we need? They have to...
They'll have to fill out a permit and everything like that. Talk to LPD, Lynn Police, Chris Reddy.
Yeah, just to let them know they're going to be up
Yeah,
there?
just let them know so you're not getting arrested.
Yeah. Do you have insurance through the school? Do they provide you any kind of insurance to...
Yeah, and there's a contact that we can reach out to.
Yeah, because that's something we usually require on stuff like that, it's just to protect everybody. So, do you bring in, how much with just the videoing equipment you bring in? What else do you have to bring in? Any big props or anything like that, or?
No, that's it, and just we'll have possibly a van with the equipment, a few cars parked on the side for
Yeah.
people to get
Yeah.
there, 2 cast members, and the rest would be crew. Nothing too big.
You said May 15th?
Yes,
What day does that fall on, do you know?
should be a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
When do they run the races? That won't be a problem. The
No,
race is
that's
on the other
on the
side.
other side.
That's on the other side. Okay, are there any questions from the board?
Nope.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So you can work with, Lisa and the DPW on the permit and stuff like that, and insurance, or April?
I'll email you, or
Yep.
we'll talk tomorrow.
And, talk with Dan Small. You can tell him that we gave approval to it, yeah, and he can help you out. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Good luck. I expect to see it on television somewhere. Mary Gatlin, Community Gardens update on the 2019 Community Garden season. Hi, Mary. You can stay there. She'll still find you.
Better on you than us.
I wanted to share an update since we're at the beginning of gardening season again. The update is actually on Warren Park, which was our newest community garden and opened last year. As you may remember, there was a fairly large amount of land that was approved for the community garden there. It was the old tennis court. But we ended up only installing 10 garden beds because that's what we had capacity for in terms of water storage. My exciting update is that a couple weeks ago, I worked with a company called Tropical Products up in Salem, and they donated a huge water storage tote for the garden. So we have effectively more than doubled our water storage capacity, which means we are going to be adding an additional 10 beds at the end of the month to the garden on the existing footprint. 2 of the beds will be an extra raised height so that people who have mobility challenges can use them more easily. And I think I'm just, I'm excited to see where the garden is going. We had it full to capacity, and based on the applications we've gotten this year, I don't see that we won't easily fill it again.
Great. Now, you talk about water storage. How many gallons does that thing hold?
The big tote, I believe, holds 275 gallons.
Oh, wow.
And we've been working with 4 water barrels that I think hold 50 or 55 gallons previously.
How do you collect your water?
We have a volunteer who very patiently sits there and waits while a hose fills it up from Leo Head Start.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's not my job.
You've got a lot of free time.
We keep them busy.
I have a rain barrel in my house, so I know how that is. I have to figure out how to run a hose from the barrel to where I need it with a pump there, so I don't have to fill it in buckets and carry it over,
We've got 300 feet of hosing that follows the fence line in the park so that no one can trip on it.
Yeah. What, do you gravity feed it? Or do you pump it? Do you have a pump there that pumps it?
No, everything is raised up a few feet
Yep.
so that by gravity you can
So it's
just open
gravity,
up
so
the
it's-
spigot
yeah.
and have it come out.
Wow. How many garden beds do you figure we have at the parks now?
We had almost 100 at last count, and if we're
Wow.
adding 10, we should go just above 100 now. I
Wow.
can check for sure and send you.
No,
the
I'm
exact.
just curious, so,
I want to say 55.
because you're at Ames, you're at Warren.
Ames has 33.
Yeah.
Warren has 10 currently.
Yeah.
And I think Cook Street has either 52 or 55. I'd have to
Yeah.
double check the numbers.
And those are the 3 places we are now?
Yes. Yeah.
Is anything new happening up at Cook Street?
Nothing is expanding beyond the current footprint.
Okay.
I talked with David. He is interested in doing a medicinal herb garden, and I did clarify with him that he means traditional kitchen herbs that we are all
Yeah.
familiar with.
Not competing with any marijuana interest around town.
Anything else that may be happening in the city on other sites. And it will be within the existing, the stone-walled garden area.
Yeah, yeah. So things are going well up there also?
To the best of my knowledge, things are going well. I know he just kicked off the season, and I reminded him that there's all the paperwork to get turned in. So he's
Yeah.
got that, and I'll touch base with him again.
When do you need that paperwork by?
The paperwork is really just the liability waiver part for
Yeah.
returning gardeners and new gardeners. So before people can begin gardening, we want to have their signatures signing the waiver.
So they each have to fill out an individual waiver form?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and David is aware of that?
He is.
We're meeting with him next week, so we can remind him of that.
Wonderful.
We
No,
can.
tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow,
tomorrow, that's right.
tomorrow, 12:30, so if you want to come,
When?
12:30 tomorrow.
Okay. What's his agenda? I guess I should ask him. I'll check in with him. All right.
Yep. Yeah, you're welcome to come, because we can bring that up. Well, thanks for coming in, giving us an update.
Have a good night.
Take care.
You too.
Mr. Murphy, how are you? Gannon Golf Course update. Are you open yet?
We're open. We're open a week ago, I think. Weather's been starting to cooperate, so. I just came in to clear up some points I wanted to clear up. I've been there 43 years, so I think most people know me up there. They know I'm going to do a good job, and I want to continue to do a good job, and I'm going to do a good job. And I was trying to wrap my head around why the city didn't take my bid when I gave them what the CFO was asking for. The only thing that I can come up with is the perception that I have a nonprofit working for me, so that it would be perceived that they are, the city is subsidizing the drinking and eating up there, which could not be further from the truth. The truth is, they pay us, I think it's $55,000 this year, which in turn we pay to the city as part of our revenue. The food concession pays the GBA, I think $25,000 or $30,000 for use of the snack shack and the restaurant. And of course, they pay all the utilities and everything else. So that was the only thing I could wrap my head around, because, you know, we gave you everything you were looking for, and I thought we were doing an excellent job.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the job being done. It was strictly a legal issue that was the way the bid went out, and yours come back, if I remember correctly, it come back with a contingency that if rates were required. So because other organizations, if anybody wanted to, didn't have the opportunity. It was strictly a legal issue. It was nothing to do with...
Yeah, well, everybody has their own perception of what it meant. I had a different, but...
Well, that was...
Done, so it's...
That was what it was explained to us. It was told to us that we could not accept the bid with a contingency, so that's why it transpired the way it did.
I know, but when we negotiated, when we had the increased wages, my understanding, looking at the newspaper when the CFO said to all bidders, I was reading the newspaper, that if the bid wasn't $450, it should be just thrown out. So I'm reading that, I'm wasting my time, I'm putting in $340 under the current rate schedule. So the rate schedule that I had proposed in July, I could easily get to the $450, and we went to $470. But
Well, you're going to get another
I'm under the jam.
You're going to get another opportunity this year, so...
Yeah. Well, we'll look forward to it, so we'll give it another shot. I say I was there, this is my 43rd year.
Yes, you did.
I did say that. Just checking. So things are going very well. But, with the thing about a one-year deal, it is difficult. I mean, our cart guy has been fabulous. I mean, he gave us a 5-year lease on carts.
I heard you get all new carts. Is that true?
Yeah, all brand-new carts.
Yeah.
So,
They get GPS in them?
No. They're not ready for that. I bought a new spray rig, I bought a couple of new greens mowers, a couple other pieces of equipment. So I got my neck out there a little bit, so...
Well, the one-year deal was strictly because by law, we could only extend it for a year, so...
I know, I understand, yeah. So. But anyways, we're gonna do a good job, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna bid on it, and we're gonna win it next time.
Okay.
All right, so that's confidence. How's my hair look all right on there?
Yeah.
All right. So, look forward to bidding it. Is there any questions?
There been any issues starting out, or?
Well, I did have one issue, related to a one-year deal. My assistant green superintendent just left to go take a full-time job at Ferncroft. So that was a little disappointing. So it's tough to, attract help. So all the rest of my staff is there.
Yep.
So I have that job posted.
Well, you can always get back into the working part of it again.
I still work.
You'd make a good assistant up there.
I would make a good assistant. I would. But, I'm still up there helping, and we're looking forward to doing continuing the master plan.
Yep.
I'd like to stay to the completion of the master plan and the irrigation system. I'm talking to you. So you still know that you need the irrigation system, so
Yep.
I'd like to stay through all the
Yeah.
conditions.
Lisa, where are we on, because the next parts that we're supposed to improve, what's it, 9, 10, 11?
Phase 2, and the phase 2 would be 12, 13, and Mark said the order of conditions on 13 for the environmental is passed, so he has to reapply with Mary Rimmer on that. He'd need a new order of conditions on 16T7 around the pond there. So we just looked at it the other day. Instead of that, continue on into the plan, doing the 8th T, 17T, cart path on number 8 that we didn't finish in last time. So it should come out good. Look forward to getting it going. Mark thought he would have the plans ready to go out to bid for July or August.
So we'd probably plan that work for late fall or early
Well,
winter?
hopefully we get a contractor, that's the big thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So everything else is okay up there then?
everything's great. Well, I already had it last year, I think it was April 2nd or 3rd we opened last year, wasn't it?
I don't recall. I don't keep track of that stuff. I'm too busy.
Well, you're all welcome to come up there and check it. I've already given you my dissertation on the restaurant and the feasibility of all that stuff, so.
Yeah.
no
Are there any
need to rehash it.
questions or? Nope. Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All righty. Anything else come before the board?
Nope, I think we're good.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.